So as I'm making my final poster, I decided to film what I was doing so you can see how I did it. I'd already edited the image together and I was just adding all of the fonts, the titles and all of the information about the film, like the age rating, the release date, the tagline and everything like that. So I was looking for a font for the title, and originally I was going to go for gothic theme, and then I looked at the horror section and I found a Nightmare. It was called Nightmare, this one, and I really liked it. So that's something that you can see on the screen now. And originally I just wrote title, but then I decided I'd go with my working title, which is Music Box. So after my first poster draft, I found that everybody said that they thought I should do a red title, so I was playing around with different shades of red and also playing around with where the title would go on the poster. So I was looking at other posters just to remind myself of where they normally go, because I didn't want to cover any of the main elements of the poster. When I was doing that research, I remembered that a lot of horror poster fonts are quite basic, like Times New Roman. So I played around with that for a while, and I ended up not liking it. I thought it looked too basic, and so I went back to the font that was called Nightmare. So I was just trying to make it a bit bolder so that you could see it a lot clearer, because I wanted a dark red, which didn't really pop very much on the page, but I thought a bright red is more like a comedy horror than a scary horror film. So I was just looking for more fonts that were a bit bolder, and I ended up deciding to layer the font. So I duplicated the layer of the font and put it over the top in a different colour, so that it kind of created a shadow effect, and which made it pop more on the poster, which you can see me doing in a second. And there, I was just layering it over the top, and I did it in grey underneath so it looked like a shadow. And at first I did it in white, but I decided that didn't look scary enough for what I wanted the poster to look like, so I changed it to grey because I thought it was quite gloomy and it just matched the overall image of the poster. I decided to add some highlights to the text to make it stand out a bit more, and then I went back to the font that was called Nightmare because I thought it would look better if I had an original font, because it would make it stand out from other horror posters. So I did that, and then I changed it back to red. And again I was playing around with where it was on the poster and also the shade of red and the size of the title on the page. And I did the same thing again. I duplicated the layer and put it over the top so it looked like a shadow, and I did the top one in a darker red and the bottom one in a bright red. And then I decided to move on to my billing block, which is the piece of text at the bottom of the poster that has all the information about the production company and the cast and the director. And so I downloaded a template and I started to fill in all of the information for my own film, because this one was a template for another film, so I just changed it all. And I did some research on what is normally put in a billing block before I started, because I wasn't really sure what to put in there. So the things that I ended up putting in were the production company, which I don't have a name for yet, so I just wrote production company. I put my working title in there until I've got a real title. I put the actors that play the lead two roles, and I put their character's name and their own names. And I also put the supporting actors, which is Sophie or Lauren's friend in the film. I did director, writer, editor, casting, and then I did location. And what I also did was, there was a section on there already that was music by, and so what I did was I went onto the videos where I found the music for my trailer, and I just wrote in the artists of those songs on there as well. I edited in a website title, an age rating, and I looked up on the BBFC the kind of guidelines for a 15 certificate, and I wrote that on there as well. So unfortunately the video stopped recording before I'd finished editing the poster, and so this is what it ended up looking like after I'd finished. So I edited the building block onto the poster and I changed it to red. I also did a age rating box at the bottom right of the poster, which has a little bit about the guidelines for a 15 certificate. It says frequent, frightening and intense scenes which may distress younger viewers. I also added the tagline to the top, which is "He's not himself, so who is he?" And I played around with some kind of incorporating the release date into that, and so I put "find out," as in find out who he is, on the 28th of October 2016. And I decided to make this my release date because the Halloween is on the Monday, and so I thought on the Friday before Halloween I would do the release date. So that is the finished poster, and I'm not entirely happy with the fonts at the minute, because I think they need some more shadowing, especially the tagline at the top, and the red needs some background behind it on the building block because you can't see it. So I am going to do that, but I have to do that once I've figured out my final title, because I can't edit the text and put shadows on at the same time. So yeah, thank you for watching.